going to talk about messaging and messaging platforms and whatever is there in the ecosystem and the urgent adoption of the new messaging, wholesale, retail, omni, CPaaS, call it whatever you want to, the different channels. So welcome to that session, and I'm happy to see you all. Some familiar faces, some new faces, which is good for the industry, by the way. So I'm happy to see those new faces. So welcome. I cannot do this alone. I don't want to do this alone, and I need my experts next to me, which I'm very honored having. I'll give them a quick minute to introduce themselves, say something about their company, and then we're going to move into a very interesting presentation from Edwin from iBasis. Come up with your questions, especially for Edwin, because he loves the questions and he loves to answer them as well. And then we'll go quickly in a panel discussion. So I hope you're okay with that logistic approach. Cell phones off, please. Okay, thank you so much. And here we go. So Alpana, first to you.
Hello, my name is Alpana, and I'm working with China Mobile International Limited for E2P SMS business. Nice to meet you.
Thank you. Good having you. Edwin?
My name is Edwin van Nieland. I'm the CEO of iBasis. For 5 years, an independent company. And I will tell you more about the company and the services later. And the context to SMS. Eric,
thank you so much, Edwin. Dushan?
Thank you, Eric. It's a pleasure being next to you and amongst this beautiful lady and gentlemen. It's an honor. Thank you for this. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Dushan. I'm a sales team lead here at Horizon, the software solutions company specialized in the messaging industry.
Thank you and good having you. Nadir?
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Nadir Patel. I'm the Director of Carrier and Mobile Services, also the official holder of the mic here between the three of us, working on the mobility services. So thank you everybody for being here.
Thank you. And last but not least, Ayush.
Good afternoon, everyone. Honored to be on this panel with distinguished guests. And I'm Ayush Barot, the Chief of Business Development for the Bankai Group, a new age messaging company with a ton of experience from the past in different fields of our industry. Thank you.
Thank you. So you see, guys, specialists. Senior specialist. Maybe you can, one or two things, maybe three. But Edwin, if I may kindly invite you and to start your presentation. And,
dancing?
Dancing? Not yet. Shh,
okay.
Later on.
All righty. Good afternoon, everybody. I will tell you a little bit more about, let's say, messaging and what's going on. I think many, many years ago, everybody thought voice was dead. On the contrary, voice is still alive, generating almost 60% of the margin for our company. What about SMS? But before I start with that part, I will give you a short introduction. What is iBasis doing and what we are today? And here you can see the past 5 years, we completed 7 acquisitions. Acquisitions by voice consolidation. The legacy iBasis was part of Royal KPN long time ago. We merged with iBasis, and in 2018, Alexander Peberot from Orange came with a fantastic idea, which I completely liked and supported. What can we do to consolidate more? And he bought 4 companies in 2 weeks' time. He bought iBasis, but he also bought the business of SFR ICS, from Altice Dominican Republic ICS, and from Mio ICS, the former Portugal Telecom. That all was integrated in a very short period of time, let's say roughly a year and a half. But Alexander has found another pocket of money, and then he decided to acquire NOS as well, let's say the second operator in Portugal. And after that, we bought Symphony, an IoT company, and earlier this year we completed the acquisition of Democo Messaging, which is an SMS company in Vienna, which is now also part of the iBasis family. 7 acquisitions, 34 different cultures, but completely independent. We have been, let's say, cash flow positive, EBITDA positive, and growing at this moment year over year. And I'm quite proud that I can lead that company going forward. What about messaging? If you look at the culture and you look at what's going on in the market, you see that messaging is growing. People thought that messaging was dead, that there was nothing. If you look at A2P, two-factor authentication, or one-time password authentication, you will figure out there is tons of traffic still available in the market. And this simply illustrates the growth at this moment, what is still there. And if you compare that with voice, then why the hell are we still in voice? If you look at the total A2P messaging, let's say bubble, is close to 3 trillion. We can hardly think about that, how many zeros that is. If you compare that with voice, we're talking about different figures. So the trend is very positive, but there's also a danger and a downside of that trend. And that is also what we have been facing with voice. Before I step into that, how do we tackle at this moment, let's say, the different commercial models in voice? Because everybody wants to make money out of it, and everybody wants to make profit out of it. Now, you have a traditional model, a CAPEX-OPEX model, whereby the MNO controls, let's say, the traffic. He sets the price, he controls the firewalls, and there we go. There is also a more advanced model, whereby no CAPEX is involved, no OPEX is involved, and whereby the MNO outsource, let's say, the commercial model completely to the SMS firewall controller or manager, and we start arranging commitments, revenue share model, something like that. And then model C, which is more dangerous. Why is it more dangerous? Because that is where you see that parties are overcommitting and doing ridiculous prepayments as part of their commercial model. And about ridiculous prepayments, I can tell you, currently in the market, certain companies are doing 6 months, 12 months, 2 years advance payments. Of course, let's say every sensible thinking manager will think money in the pocket and they delegate the risk to somebody else. But that is where the risk will start. Because what will happen if you don't meet the commitment? You will start generating artificial traffic. You trash traffic, or you do other things which we have seen in the voice market as well. And it's only short-term gain. It's definitely not a long-term gain, and it will have an impact on the sustainability of the business. If you see the evolution of the SMS cost, you can see what is happening. Everybody was trying to make money out of it. Why? Because the prices were so low. 90% of the operators increased the price since 2021. And of those 90%, only 7.7% increased the price up to 5%. But see what's happening. Close to 40% increased the price more than 100%. Of course, it's a revenue generator, but at the same time, it's a short-term gain. It is not sustainable for the future. And in fact, it is pushing where the OTTs were helping us with the SMS into a different direction. And I will tell you later about that. And pushing into the other direction, here see what's happening. SMS, 100% reliable, 100% secure. We all thought that SS7 was dead. On the contrary, it is still growing, and everybody has to watch their STPs and perhaps go to virtual STPs going forward. You see what the reach is already from WhatsApp, 60%. But you also see the reach of Android RCS. The past 6 months, Android, Google, RCS did a massive campaign, let's say, to make the technology RCS from a dormant state into an active state. And that is an alternative channel which will impact our SMS A2P business. WhatsApp termination, it is for free. Of course, now they start asking money for it, and you will see that the WhatsApp termination is becoming extremely important. RCS already, you see 3,000% increase in the recent 6 months. And that is really where we need to prepare ourselves. Let's say, how can we provide these alternative channels next to SS7 in combination? How can we offer WhatsApp termination, RCS termination going forward? Let's say the omni-channel solution might bring a solution going forward, and Horizon can tell more about that. Going back to the fraud, and you can see what's happening. What we are not controlling fundamentally is the fraud. Enterprises and brands will generate more artificial traffic. You will see that there is more trashing going on. The MNOs are facing trashing as well, gray routes, SIP trunking bypassing, and other bypass to legal termination. But also global title faking is currently one of the frauds which is happening. And the end users, they will experience smishing and identity theft. It's not good for our industry. And collectively, we need to work upon that. And that's also one of the reasons why I'm a strong advocate for both the GLF and the I3 Forum to start working in a subgroup SMS to see how can we prevent and how can we push back, let's say, the fraud. While at the same time, most likely MNOs and board directors will say, yeah, but I got the money from a party who is willing to prepay and overcommit a certain deal. So that is the status quo we are facing at this moment. If you go back to the international fraud, you will see here some indications what's going on. Artificial traffic, it is there and we can't deny it. And I'm facing a significant issue with GDPR because officially I'm not allowed even to open an SMS to take a look at it to see what is genuine or what is not genuine. Gray routes, 35% is happening. If certain countries ask 30 cents for an SMS termination, yeah, why should the OTT pay so much for that? Of course, it should not be for free, but 30 cents for an SMS termination, that's a ridiculous rate. And SMS phishing is the other, let's say, fraud trend, what is happening. There are still, let's say, opportunities at the same time. The one-time passwords, everybody knows if you lose your password, you get an SMS or a two-factor authentication. And in 9 out of 10 cases, it's not an in-app solution. It is simply an SMS what you get, and where you need to acknowledge your digit, the 4 or 6 digits you get via the SMS. You also see that in the automotive and banking industry, SMS is still core. It's the only reliable, secure, end-to-end tooling which can be used for authentication. And that is still something we should realize. And it's not about, let's say, presenting a dark picture. I think it's presenting also there is a brilliant future for SMS going forward, knowing that if we have, let's say, accessibility to 3 billion traffic, yeah, that's a lot to gain. But at the same time, there's also a lot to lose and to see what we can do about it. What do we need to do? I think we need to rebuild our trust in the SMS ecosystem. And then immediate action is needed to prevent the artificial traffic. We need to be transparent and do realistic market pricing and stop with the prepayments, which are ridiculous, and with the overcommitments, where automatically, let's say, all these, let's say, non-do's are, let's say, activated. Look at your commercial model. Clear. Of course, we want to make money out of it, and we want to prevent, let's say, that we cannot guarantee that the firewall is 100% correct, but at the same time, be realistic and make sensible margin components. SMS, I already told it, is a more secure channel, end-to-end. It's safer than RCS, it's safer than WhatsApp, and it's safer than all the other tools. And who could have thought about that for SS7, where we thought that there was no future for SS7 going forward? And start capitalizing the potential in specific SMS cases. Let's say the banking environment is still there. To give you an idea of the growth of SMS for iBasis. We started with 2 million, 4 million, and now we are close to 100 million. 60% is coming from the wholesale market and monetization. 40% is coming from the regional market and the enterprise market. So there is still room to maneuver. We are not a big player. There are many other players which are big, but I'm a strong advocate of keeping the business very clean going forward. And that is my message for today, Eric.
Thank you so much, and really inspiring. And then thank you. Any questions? Or was it that clear? Huh? Was a good one, huh? Did you like it? Ah, you have a question, please. Yes. Come forward. Mic is coming. And the microphone is presented to you by Bartosz. Oh, that's nice.
You hear me?
Yes,
Okay.
loud and clear.
Yeah, so among these 3 trillion SMS expected, how much do you think there are trash or artificial traffic, let's say?
Let's say the figures are up to 10%, and that's significant. And that is just an indication what we see, what is trashed and what is bypassing. And we cannot say that all the bypass traffic is also artificial traffic, but it is roughly 10%. And the source is coming from mobile squared.
That's quite a lot. Huh?
Yeah.
That's quite a lot. All righty. So thank you again. And thank you so much for your question. Really, really. I love this, the interaction. Thank you so much. So guys, messaging ecosystem platforms and the urgent adoption of the new message in wholesale, retail, omni, and CPaaS. Yes, Dusan, I see you watching. I'm coming to you now. So is there a need actually for a vast reshaping of the messaging platforms? And is the must a need for our entire industry? I mean, new media, what we see around has, have changed completely the business messaging, and the P2A seems to grow more than ever. And I mean, what we just heard, it's not only the P2A, but also the A2P. So Dusan, can you give us, as a platform provider, can you give us, let's say, an overview, and do you share the same values which I just mentioned? Is there a change?
Definitely, definitely. As the name of the panel says, the urgent adoption of the new messaging, I actually feel that we gather here in a critical situation, because we here need to discuss about this along with you here, please, and along with everyone along this beautiful venue, because I think that we need to listen what's going on, and we need to understand this, and we need to react, all of us, telcos, vendors, solution providers. So we need to contribute to this. And the needs are definitely changing. The industry is fast growing. And now what we know is that the new wave of channels, for example, is here. It's not any longer behind the corner. It's already here. And we need to adapt. On personally looking on the things from my point of view, our company noticed this, and we tried to give our contribution to this. We implemented all those omnichannels to our platforms. And now I believe that we're there, we're competitive, and we can make the life of an end user much, much easier. So I think that all of us should contribute to this and change our point of view, our solutions, and our business approach also.
No, and it's good to know that Horizon has the platform for not only for the wholesale, but also for enterprise as well. So you do get the feedback from your customer experience from both sides, right?
Definitely, definitely. It's also the business owners, it's also the marketeers. And the thing is that we need to listen. We cannot just stay in our, chairs and just say yes, no. No, it's, if you want to do it successfully, you need to make it approachable to your end users, whether we're talking about enterprises or marketeers. You need to listen, you need to understand, and you need to make it happen. So this is what we're trying to do.
So a question, are you?
I would say yeah.
Okay. Good enough. Alpana, what's your take? I mean, what is changing? What is changing in the landscape? And what do you hear? What's the feedback that you get? I mean, you're in charge of the business development. So what do you get back from your customers?
So whenever I talk to OTTs these days, it has been changed a lot because now they want to see the return on investment, and it should be communication platform for them. And OTTs are now suggesting that they have a bigger power. Earlier, they were sending good traffic, and now it's costing them a lot. So we are seeing a shift from A2P to other platforms also, like RCS. They are sending OTPs over WhatsApp. So we have to take the pace and see where we are going with them, because at the end, they are the one who is governing the ecosystem.
No, exactly. Ayush, your view?
Yeah, I agree with her. I think the new trends in the messaging are, the messaging should be with some predictive analysis, artificial intelligence, rather than more informative. It has gone to more customer conversion or success ratios. And that, I think, is changing the market currently as we see. And agree to Edwin's point as well, that we as an industry should get along and try to bring that 10% down to maybe, in single digits on the lower side. So combining both the efforts put together, the new demands coming in versus killing the fraud is the key need for the time. Otherwise, as he said, like the voice business, we may see a decline. And then, like in voice today, voice is not dead. I like the way you opened.
I still call my mom on her fixed line, because she doesn't have a mobile phone, because she doesn't want to. She just wants to almost dial like this, We still know. No, it's true.
Yeah.
It's true story. So the voice is dead, will never be dead. Never. I mean, Edwin and I, we go back many years in the industry, and I think 20 years ago they started saying, "No, voice will die, guys," and especially iBasis, the first guys, with the voice over IP, over Chinese. Let's not forget. And it's dead. No, it will cost nothing. No margins anymore. Well, on the margins we can still debate and discuss, of course, but still, I mean, iBasis and of course as well Bankai, proof of concept. Listen, guys, no, there is still good margin to be earned, but again, keep the quality as it is, right? So voice will never die, guys. Never. Yeah. We need our voices, right? There you go. Yeah. Sorry to interrupt you, Ayush.
So, I mean, you guys have pioneered it, but 2 decades in the voice business, I feel it is more about collaborations, and that's the way to grow. But coming back to messaging, I think that is the same curve the messaging business is taking. And if we control it all together, I mean, there are a handful of players, be it on the platform side, the technology side, the aggregation side. It is still controllable if we are able to get together and make this work. But definitely you have to meet the demands of the market, and that is what Bankai is doing as a new age player in messaging. Thank you.
Okay, Nadir, your take on it?
Sure, yeah, clearly. So it's quite obvious that the messaging ecosystem platforms are changing. And the main driver behind that is the enterprise and OTTs behind it, because they are the ones who are sending out the messages. They have gone through a lot of anomalies in the system, as we see. Initially, it was purely the AIT, the fake generation, or all of this stuff. Then the pricing changes came into the picture. And that has, I think, accelerated a request from their side to look at other options. So having a omni-channel or a centralized platform as a service or a communication platform service is being driven now more by the enterprise guys. We as a telco operator, we are also, even the last year when we had the same discussion, we are looking and we are working on to be able to provide our enterprise customers options, not just on the SMS side, but also on the other channels which are available. Doesn't mean that the messaging will go, because there are certain regulations where you will always need to send an SMS to a customer. But I think the shift will happen and is happening as we speak to move towards other omnichannels.
No, exactly, and I think that we saw this quite correctly in the presentation from Edwin, I guess, or not, I guess that's what we saw. Sorry, but it is that we will have multiple channels. I mean, yes, we do, and we all agree. I think that SMS today is the most valuable, safe, what have you, messaging channel that we have. But as we saw, I mean, WhatsApp for Business, if I heard correctly, I mean, WhatsApp for Business is now 2%, and it will grow in 4 years to 27, 28, 30 years.
20-30%,
Yeah.
yes.
And on top we have, let's say, RCS. I mean, there are always people who say, no, RCS will never make it. No way. Other people will say, no, hold on. That's where the marketeers will push. Is that true or not? I'm just dropping this curveball here. Whoever wants to bump in, let's discuss. What's the view?
We can see it. Let's say we provide SMS firewall solutions whereby, let's say we have exclusivity into the countries. Let's say that on itself is not sufficient. You need, let's say, adequate reports, but next to the reports, you also need adequate analysis for what's going on. Let's say we noticed for a certain moment that Amazon was switching on and off RCS. And then you could see a spike to 100K messages up, next day going down. If you are not aware of that, of the impact of such a switch, of what an OTT can do, that's amazing. And let's not forget, the OTT helped us in the beginning with generating, with the SMS revenue. Now they are looking at alternatives, let's say, to develop their own business messaging environment, which is not strange. So either we cooperate. What is Google doing? Google is going to the MNOs directly, let's say, to sign up for a deal. Of course, can Google have more than 200 MNOs contracts direct and manage that? Question mark at this moment. But that's the reality what we are facing. So let's say what the marketeers are doing, that's fine. But if we are not able to translate that or see that in our, let's say, day-to-day traffic, and we are not learning in the steepest learning curve, is that a threat or an opportunity? Yeah, then we are behind. I strongly believe that omni-channel, and let's prove the facts. MessageBird, CM.com, Trango, they are all successful in the omni-channel approach. And they did what we hope to do in the future.
Alpana?
I would say that you rightly mentioned about Amazon, and I'm seeing a shift between Amazon and Google. Earlier, they were sending message for two-factor authentication, and they were requesting MNOs to have a stable rate for 3 years, and then MNOs was denying. Somehow, I feel like when they were ready to commit, we were not agreeing to it, and we are the part of this shift somehow.
Yep.
We let them, take this stand that now they are like, okay, if it doesn't happen, if you are keep on increasing rates every year, let us look out for another option. Whenever I do two-factor authentication for Google or Amazon, now I'm getting on email. There is no more messaging. So RCS and other channels are getting open.
Okay, and growing. Gentlemen, do you agree? Maybe. I mean, what do you get from your customers? What do you?
Well, definitely, yeah. From our point of view, we would agree. And I would agree. I would also highlight what Edwin said, looking at this as a threat or the opportunity, because we're still in learning process. It's not just our fault that we're still learning and we're 20 plus years in the industry. It's also other companies that we sometimes depend on and we need to comply. And this is why we're constantly learning. So sometimes access to omnichannels, yeah, it's amazing. I love them personally. Colorful, easy to use. Sometimes not so easy to configure, by the way, but okay, we'll get there. Anyway, you need to adapt. You need to do this. You need to have those omnichannels if you want to be here on the market. And then you mentioned RCS, which is tremendous. I also love RCS. I see it as a great addition to all the channels, but I think it needs to be more explored. Now, some things are not allowing RCS to be more explored and to be more famous here. Who from the audience is using RCS? I don't see many people. Okay, Bartosz, yeah, thank you.
Bartosz in the back.
Yeah. But actually, RCS needs to be promoted more. Not only RCS, there's tons of new channels. I mentioned we're receiving the wave of new channels, and we just need to check them out. We need to learn about them, and then we can promote them. They can be good for us, for communication, for end users. They can maybe be good for business, for the revenue. And this is why I believe that we need to sit and to work together. And when I say we, I think about the whole industry, because the restrictions that we have can be overtaken. The hurdles, I would not look at them like that tough. I need it with one good approach. We can make it fun and we can make it good for all of us.
Just jump better. Make sure that you jump better. You can have every hurdle.
You sound like my boss now.
And I know his boss. I mean, you mentioned that people need to adopt, not a lot of people using RCS, but isn't it a matter of pricing as well? I mean, if I send an SMS, for instance, to Indonesia, what do we pay?
30 cents.
Okay, 25 euro cents, $30 cents, what have you. So wouldn't be that a fantastic thing for RCS? I don't know.
It is already there. Let's say the alternative message channels for especially
growing.
the enterprise market is RCS via Google, is WhatsApp Business over API, and it is Apple Business Chat. They're already there. So we know the enemy and growing. At the same time, we know that for two-factor authentication, you also have different methodologies. You have flash calling, and that's also a threat. In-app notifications, you have authentication apps. The authenticator is there. You have Mobile Connect and you have passkeys. So we know the, let's say, arena already in which we operate. What we need to do is bring back the value of SMS and reframe SMS as a foolproof fallback scenario at an acceptable price and turn it around.
That's where I want to go to, because I mean, we were talking about smishing and fraud and whatever, but if the rate is, $30 cents, now that is a market people would like to go into, right? I mean, but it's very difficult to ask an operator or in a country to say, listen, you have to go down with your, because, we in the world will have less, they will say, yeah, but give us the opportunity to earn our money, like you did 20 years before. We understand. But still, where are we going? Is it then, because if they stick to, let's say, the high rates or the higher rates, right? Because fraud doesn't make any sense if I cannot earn money on it, right? So you kill it immediately. But again, you have opposite interests, right? So from an operator point of view, from an MNO point of view.
I think it's a matter of time when regulators will start intervening in this arena. Likewise, what happened in voice as well. And that's not always positive. We know that.
Yes, I know that.
So, again, bring back, let's say, where the good elements of the omni-channel strategy, whereby SMS is one of the channels as a foolproof fallback at reasonable pricing, but at the same time, it is secure, it is 100% guaranteed. So bring the positive things back to the table instead of protecting off your market by high prices.
Mm-hmm. So are we saying here that we go for an ice cream and we say, I want vanilla, or I want pistachio, or I want strawberry? Is that what we're talking about? Gentlemen, please, Nadir.
Yeah, 3 different scoops. That's how I go normally when I go for an ice cream.
Okay.
But coming to the pricing part, see, I don't think, or I believe that maybe an enterprise would be willing to pay 30 cents if he gets a 24-hour session on a WhatsApp for Business to interact with the customer, rather than pay 30 cents for a single SMS.
Exactly.
So the value that you could bring by bringing in or onboarding omni-channel solutions to the enterprise will make a big difference. Messaging will remain like voice remains. Today also we do video calls, we turn on the WhatsApp, make video calls, but we still make calls. So these are just different options that come up. We weren't able to monetize the WhatsApp for calling, but there is an opportunity to do something here as far as WhatsApp for Business or even any other RCS is concerned.
Ayush, your take?
Yep. So our belief is the telco should take control at this point in order to curb this down and make SMS live better. The idea is, when somebody, we do that all the time, but when you give control of your SMS, your firewall sitting on your, network to someone else, the urge came from both sides. It's not the telcos or not the aggregators or not the platform providers. The urge for the higher revenues, because on the international side, voice was dying. This was something new which was growing every day. Messaging took leaps and bounds in the last 1 decade. And having said that, everybody has enjoyed whatever was on the table offering. But I think if telcos take control and give out a full platter of offerings, right from RCS to omnichannel, and integrating and collaborating with platform providers and aggregators, I think that should save the SMS business overall. And we will not take the same shape as voice at one time happened.
Communication would go down.
Please, Nadir, add it.
No, I just said that the average cost of communication for the enterprise would effectively go down. So he would continue doing what he's doing. And then when you grow the volumes, then you get your revenues back.
Okay. In general, I would completely comply with that. But it's time. It is the time factor. Because before we know it, voice is the example. These guys are not sitting still. They're moving. The Googles, the OTTs, these guys are moving, and they're moving in a fast pace, in a huge fast pace, which normally the carriers, the operators, the telcos, the MNOs cannot get up with, because they are. It's not being negative, but I mean, the guys over there, I mean, in Silicon Valley, and don't know if you ever visit them, but you know how fast they go. And when we are starting to think about it, what we should do, they already have 2-3 variables ready on the shelf. I mean, you're visiting, I think, once or twice a month. You're in the US, so you're probably the closest to the fire of all of us. But what can the operators do, or how can messaging platform providers, so let's say the tech side as well, help us, support us in being faster in our target time to market? Because it is inevitable, I think, out of this discussion, that okay, guys, okay, messaging, it's the best proof of concept. It's the best there is. We need to regain a certain market share, but the market share which we had will never come back because of the other flavors in the ice cream shop, right? We all agree on this one. But your message is, let's make sure that we are very ready to work together to make sure that we don't lose more, actually even regain a bit. Is that correct?
That's correct. But let's not forget let's say to achieve that and to achieve adequate solutions, you can say, okay, we implement an omni-channel platform on top of your SMS platform. That on itself will not bring the solution. You need, let's say, the knowledge in-house. Let's say many of the operators are still have a majority of voice DNA. They are still voice-centric, DNA-oriented.
Legacy.
The legacy, to protect the legacy. And that is also how they discussed at the board level. And then when you come in with SMS omni-channel, you first have to explain. Okay, there starts the 101 course, then the 202 course, then the 303 course. And then finally they get it, that an investment in the omni-channel might bring that solution going forward. At the same time, you start talking with, let's say, the hyperscalers. How many of us really talk to hyperscalers? How many hyperscalers are around here? 0. And why? Because they have no interest in us. So we need to reach out to them to offer them the solutions they are looking for.
In a proactive approach.
In an approach whereby perhaps we apologize. Guys, we were sorry. We should not charge you 30 cents per SMS. But you have volumes. You helped us as well growing the SMS business. So what can we do mutually together? What is the trend going forward? Of course, that's a complete different approach. And that's not, let's say, typically a voice-centric DNA approach. Okay, think different, act different, to do different.
Okay, good. So how can you support the guys, Dusan?
Well, basically, to be able to support them, you need to offer them the solution. Just offering them the platform, I believe, is not enough. Platform should come along with services. Those two together should make a solution. So if you have a platform along with services that can offer you access to all those traditional channels that we mentioned and omni-channels, then you also need to be ready. You need to be adjustable. So when your user comes and asks for something new, you need to be ready to give it, to provide it. So you need to have engineers backend. They need to understand the need and they need to react. So you need to be growing your system. You need to be feature rich. You need to have APIs, etc., etc. And this all together can combine and make a successful solution. I believe that here in our company, we can do that and that we can provide that. But still, as I mentioned at the beginning, we are still learning because each of us has some new idea and we still need to develop. So
that I understand. I understand the tech. I understand the product, the services, and the combined, which is everything, the solution. But what he was talking about, what Edwin said, we need actually an added plus. We need support. And that is, I wouldn't call it cultural support, but there is still a lot of legacy, even within operators who grew from voice, went put on top as well the messaging, but still they need, let's say, consultancy where you can really change mindsets and take them with you in your. You can have the most beautiful solutions in the world, absolutely, and probably you have it. But still, if you cannot bring or broadcast the message, is that what you were saying? You need support from a platform provider as well.
No, not really. I think you need to. I think you need to develop that knowledge by yourself. Let's say you cannot rely 100% on the platform provider. Of course, they can help, but they also have their challenges as well. Let's say we are in the not luxury situation due to the acquisitions. We have 2 SMS platforms. Let's say I need to take a decision now from a business case model. What is the best way going forward? Knowing these kind of market developments, knowing that I want to make a profitable business going forward, and that I want to secure and protect myself against fraud. Of course, a platform provider can help me, but at the same time, he's my provider. So it is a cooperation model in general. I'm more in favor of a GLF I3 form approach, whereby collectively we share information with each other, and whereby collectively we take a look, okay, how can we prevent that this is going in the wrong direction? Because the technology will remain. Let's say the alternative omni-channels will remain. Let's say what will not remain is the behavior of the telcos. How can we change that?
Sure.
Big question mark. And that's not up to an Horizon, Alaris, or another platform provider.
So you're partly off the hook, but only partly, yeah?
But just to add this, when it comes to supporting, usually you should be able to have various different departments to also educate you at the beginning during the first talks in the commercial, just to promote channels, promote the use cases, but also to help you understand why the use of this should be beneficial for you. Yeah. Then you should have also CRMs to support your business. You should have a secure support department within your company who will be there for you whenever you have. So I think along with the need, if you have all this combined, that can make you supported, at least feeling supported, because we are the providers, and not only providers which are disappearing then. We will be there next to you, along with all of your needs and challenges that you're going to face. We will be also facing them together, and we can work together to make it happen.
Mm-hmm. All right. Alpana, you want to comment on that one? Because
yeah, I wanted to add one thing, that there is very important element to it, which is end user. So we should also consider it. Like, I still believe I would be more comfortable with SMS, but whenever I get SMS, I'm also worried about phishing attacks, because this is very thin line between what is a genuine SMS and what is the not. And now all these links involved, I don't want to click anything because it has, we are seeing in our market, it has been increasing a lot. So if we are talking about any new solution, it should be acceptable with the end user also and should help whole ecosystem.
Okay, that's nice. And looking at the time, that what I would like to do is actually to have a closing round and to get some statements which hopefully helps you in whatever decision you're making. And Dushan, if I may start with you. I mean, we were talking about the ecosystem, the messaging ecosystem platforms, what to do, what to expect, what is the market doing, where's the demand coming, how's the customer experience, and so on. And we went a bit in on a submatter a bit more deeper. What can we expect for the future? What's out there?
It can be tricky for sure. It's coming, and in the future, I believe that we can expect more challenging channels to be presented. I believe that RCS will be there. I believe it will be promoted better. And then I'm also expecting AI to be involved more. I'm expecting more engagement from chatbots, and I'm expecting more support from AI and making the things simplified in upcoming era, because I believe that when those factors combine, our job can be easier, but still we need to be there. We need to monitor, we need to be ready to react and to support.
Okay, Nadir?
As he mentioned, challenging, and then he gave all the innovations required. So I will take it from there, saying that innovations is what will help us further to improve from where we are. As an operator, definitely, we have to innovate. We have to look at, moving faster than what the OTTs or anybody else is doing here.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Ayush?
I believe the strategy has to be different for different regions. We cannot have a single conclusion on this point, on this forum. Here we have got the telco aggregator, platform provider, all of us put together. I believe with different regions, you change your approach a little bit. Some places, traditional SMS is still even in the adolescent or the growth stage. So we can, react better and protect. Let's say I work a lot in the Pacific. So Pacific is still going to see the growth, which we've already seen around the world. In the developed markets or emerging markets, the approach should be more towards innovation and different methods. And while covering Alpna's concern of how to make it more reliable when I see a link through WhatsApp or any point of communication through messaging coming on my phone. And in highly populated markets, India, Indonesia, all these markets, because of the large population and a certain amount of literacy issues, there has to be a different approach in comparison to a European or an American market. So everything put together, I believe regionally, the carriers, the operators and platform providers need to get together and see how to solve for that particular area rather than coming to a common conclusion.
Okay. Edwin, some famous last words.
I can be sometimes very provocative.
Please.
No, I think in general, the industry should realize that we can start with the change ourselves. We don't have to wait. For instance, when you submit an RFI of RFP, then don't ask for a prepayment, which is ridiculous. Don't start asking for overcommitments. On the other hand, when you react on an RFI or RFP, look at the long term and not only at the short-term gains. Too many examples are there currently in the market that people, telcos, MNOs in general, are only opting for the short-term gains instead of the long-term, let's say, opportunity which is still there in the omni-channel environment, whereby SMS is one of the main contributors. That would be my statement.
Thank you so much. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank you for staying with us and listening to us and and hopefully you get one or two things out of there. And we were more than happy to share the knowledge with you. I would like to thank you, Alpana, for being here. Ayush, Nadir, Dushan, and Edwin, and of course iBasis for sponsoring this session.
Thank you.
So I would like to thank you, and don't forget, guys, in 10 minutes we're going to start again. We're going to talk about data centers and other stuff, peering and iAccess and whatever. So get your coffee, tea, water, whatever, and be back here in 10 minutes if you like. So thank you so much.